In Act 1, Scene 5, verse lines 92 through 113, Hamlet has a soliloquy in which he has just finished talking to the ghost of his father and now is planning on avenging his father's death upon learning that his father had been murdered by his uncle. He says in lines 92 through 113, "O all you host of heaven, O earth, what else? And shall I couple hell? O fie! Hold, hold my heart, and you, my Shanoos, grow not instant old, but bear me swiftly up." Remember thee, I, thou poor ghost, while memory holds a seat in this distracted globe. Remember thee. Yea, from the table of my memory I'll wipe away all trivial fond records, all saws of books, all forms, all pressures past, that youth and observation copied there. And thou, commandment all alone, shall live within the book and volume of my brain. Unmixed with baser matter, yes, yes, by heaven, O most pernicious woman, O villain, villain, damned villain! My tables, meet it is I set it down, that one may smile, and smile, and be a villain. At least, I'm sure that's how it may be in Denmark. So, uncle, there you are. Now to my word. It is adieu, adieu. Remember me. I have sworn it. Now he mentions all the hosts of heaven and earth, and then he asks, should he couple hell? He's potentially worried that the ghost that he's seen may not be his dad, but something else. And then he talks about his Shanoos grow not instant old, but bear me swiftly up. He's not growing old, but maybe he's terrified and his joints start to feel like they're old because they're slowing down out of fear of witnessing this ghost. But then he asks, remember thee. And then he says, ah, that poor ghost, while memory holds a seat in this distracted globe, remember thee. He asks the question, remember thee. Could he mean that he's worried about forgetting about the ghost, and perhaps his joints aren't old or anything, but he's worried about them growing old, and he's worried about as he grows older and how he gets distracted by what's happening all around him, if he'll remember the ghost. And then he talks about, from the table of my memory I'll wipe away all trivial fond records, all saws of books, all forms, all pressures past, that youth and observation copy there. So he's talking about his memories and everything he's learned, so that this one memory may exist. But why this one memory? He goes on. and says, "And thy commandment all alone shall live." What commandment? Well, in line 25, scene 1, act 5, the ghost asks Hamlet, "Revenge his foul and most unnatural murder." Whose murder? Well, in lines 62 or 61 through 63. "Upon my secure hour thy uncle stole, with juice of cursed Hebanon and of veil, and in the porches of mine ears did pour." So, he learns that his uncle has killed his father, and the ghost of his father is asking for Hamlet to avenge his death. And then he says, "Unmixed with base manner, yes, yes, by heaven." So he's swearing by heaven that he will avenge his father's death. And then he goes on, "O most pernicious woman." It could be his mother. Then he says, "O villain, villain, smiling, damned villain." Most likely talking about his uncle. Then he talks about his tables. In the note, it says, "Scholars and others might carry 2 writing tables, binding together as a notebook." So he's talking about his notebook, and he says, "My tables, meet it as I set it down." When he says, "meet it as I set it down," he's talking about writing something out. And then or at least that's what he could mean, that he's pretty much stating that something. Well, he states that one may smile, smiling being a villain. Well, that could mean that you can act as good as you want to, and yet still be a bad person. And then he says, "At least I'm sure it may be so in Denmark." So he's referring to his country. Then there's a stage direction that says he writes. And he writes, "So uncle, there you are." So pretty much he's calling his uncle out while he's writing down. And then he says, "Now to my word. It is adieu, adieu. Remember me." Adieu is French for goodbye. So he's saying goodbye, goodbye, remember me. Is he talking to the ghost? Maybe, but I have a feeling he's talking to his uncle. And he's writing not directly to his uncle, but it's meant for his uncle. Goodbye, goodbye, remember me. And then the last thing he writes is, "I have sworn it." So it could be seen as a threat on his uncle's life, that he will kill his uncle, and that he's sworn to revenge his father's death. And that is the soliloquy from Hamlet, Act 1, Scene 5, lines 92 through 113.